Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully the sound is coming through now. So basically, what I was just saying is that we had Palantir hitting the newswire here with its earnings, of course, this morning, even before I was expecting them. And the earnings actually was the miss, setting the stock lower, a miss of about 2% from the analyst consensus on the EPS figure. While revenue did actually top expectations, we can get to that in a moment. Stock down actually around almost retesting the $12 level, but has bounced back. We'll have to see what happens with the conference call. And yeah, I'm looking at your comments right now. So yeah, not too much to glean from the headlines right here. And yeah, so basically what I was saying is Palantir for the first time released some accompanying remarks along with the presentation and the earnings release. So let's dive right in. So we have revenue growth of 41% for the fiscal year, and commercial revenue is up triple digits once again year over year. So those are the headline numbers right there. Good thing. Or good, yeah, it's great when they're able to present strong numbers like that. So I'm not actually going to get into all of these highlights because I want to actually be able to compare them to previous quarters. So I think it's not as useful just to look at the numbers all on their own instead of being able to compare them. But what I'm going to do is actually first I'm going to look at the guidance. What did they say for their outlook? They say for Q1 2022 we expect 443 million in revenue. So I saw this just earlier, and that is a little bit of a disappointment to me. So 443 million in revenue over what they just did of 433 million in revenue, because they just did 433, which that's only about 2.3% growth quarter over quarter. So it seems like they're guiding pretty low in Q1 of 2022. Okay, they're just reiterating this long-term revenue growth of 30% or greater. All right. Yeah, so let's look at what they actually did. So they did 433 million in revenue for this quarter, bringing the full year to above the 1.5 billion for the full year. That is nice to see. But as if you've watched my prior videos leading up to this, I was actually expecting revenue of about 435 million in the base case. So I guess you could call this in line with that, but I was actually looking for a much bigger quarter, potentially up to 447 million in revenue, if this were a blowout quarter. Now, it doesn't look like that was the case, unfortunately, with revenue coming in at 433, but worth recognizing again that this is a beat because they guided for 418. So this is a beat of about 3.5% there. Okay. So yeah, I'm sure you'll hear these numbers a lot today. I just want to see what else they have actually released along with this. They've put out their fiscal year, their fiscal. Can I just? Now I'm just completely zoomed. Oh, there we go. That would be bad. Okay, so this is their slide deck right here. And let's just see what's important on this. The 34% revenue growth. Now, I think this is pretty important. That's the figure they were able to put up year over year. Now, I was saying how 447, closer to that $450 million mark, would actually be much closer to 40% growth year over year. And I really think Palantir is going to have to far exceed 30% to, first of all, beat their or even come in line and above their guidance of $4 billion through 2025. If you look at that, 30% is really not going to do it. And anything near 30% really isn't going to exceed that very much either. So I was really looking for Palantir to, get coming closer to that 40% mark. But we'll have to see what they say on the call, how Karp addresses the revenue growth, as he is the proponent of that. And we see the revenue growth for the government side at 26%. It seems like the government side is really slowing down, but again, I don't have the number right here for context. We've also got the commercial revenue growth at 47%, which is good to see. But that, I'd have to break that down even more. U.S. commercial, this is really what's powering the business right now, as far as I can tell, is the U.S. commercial revenue. All right, adjusted operating income, 124 million, which is 29% margin. We got the other financial numbers. I will really dive into these later. What is this figure? High growth, high cash flow. Is this compared to other companies? I'm not sure. Yeah. Let me actually take some of your comments. So, just give me one moment. Yeah, and I apologize. Yeah, I apologize for the lack of sound just a moment ago. Let's see, what is everyone saying? Yes. Yeah, what's 12 million among friends? Yeah, okay. So things are not linear all at once. So this is really the point that I've started to realize with Palantir is that it's not going to be linear. Now, keep in mind that compounded linear growth, that's not linear either. Like if you're compounding 35% quarter over quarter, that's not linear because you're actually compounding the growth, or 40% even more so. But I really think Palantir is going to have to hit an inflection point at some point. I know that is shared with some people in the community, but I definitely think it's true. Every quarter they best guidance and everyone is disappointed because they expected even more. Absurd. Yeah. Yep. That's it's definitely the case, but that's what you come to expect when it's conservative guidance and they routinely hit it. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep looking here. When it has to work, there's only Palantir. Okay, so they're going through some of their impact studies. Oh, it keeps zooming in. Okay, let's keep looking. Too expensive, so they're saying how they're actually refuting some of the points here. Oh, this is great. Oh, I really like this. This is exactly what I was looking for. The TAM expansion. So starting 2013, expanding out. Edge AI for Gotham and the Meta Constellation and Project Titan. That was last year. And now they're expanding outwards. These projects are getting bigger and bigger. These platforms are really expanding their TAM, which is total addressable market, which means the further they expand these products into time, over time, when they have the ability to do so, the more they will actually generate in revenue, the more the business will make, which is common sense. But look at this. This is very important. We have Gotham to the lower left here, Foundry above it. You see how it comes in above for the expansion, being higher up on the page, indicating that it can generate more, even more, much more. It looks like 1.5 times Gotham could be Foundry over time. Okay. So my big issue with this is, of course, can't you just tell us what you're working on? Like, why is it going to be bigger? You need to prove why this could be the case. And then we got Apollo over here saying that, oh, that could be even more of an expansion compared to Foundry. So I like that. I think that's yeah, I love that slide. I want to hear more on that. New products released since the direct public offering. Edge AI, Apollo for customers. That's when they said you can actually use Apollo. We'll productize Apollo. The Meta Constellation, we heard that a couple quarters back. Edge AI, that was recently as well. Hyper Auto, that was very recently. I do not know what this thing is. Ops Pi, I'm actually not sure. Not sure what that is. I know Titan is part of Gotham, of course. We got Cosmos up here. Yeah, so the thing about these is I'm not sure they're really new products. Like they're definitely products, but when they're part of an existing platform, I'm not too sure if you would consider those new products. But I don't know. I guess that's up for interpretation. Our customers are saying Foundry is to app developers this decade what AWS was to them last decade. And really what they're insinuating here in a good way is that what happened to AWS after that? How did it propel Amazon as a business, as a stock? So that's very interesting. Joe Merck, Swiss. Swiss Re, Airbus, Merck again. Yeah, so apparently the developers, which they are going to talk more and more about after sort of launching this developer program, I guess you could say that the beginning of it, are really loving this. So okay, so here's the growth visualized, and yeah, just more and more numbers. I'm not going to waste your time on me going through looking at this for the first time. Let's just see if there's anything that just jumps out. That is not linear right there. That is not linear. And this is what, yeah, I think some people are wrong about what they mean by linear. But I get that the number isn't increasing, but when it's compounding, it actually is a little bit more than just linear. The path to GAAP profitability. Here we are. Okay. 43% GAAP gross margin and 40% adjusted. So that's not the issue. Operating income while investing in growth. Okay. What are we looking down here? The adjusted operating margin. So that's excluding stock-based compensation and related employer tax. So the adjusted operating margin is still negative. All right. So they're showing improvement, definite improvement from last year, significant improvement. Whereas the GAAP operating margin is pretty flat there. The appendix. Okay, I want to see. This is the first time they've sent out accompanying remarks. Let's just scroll through this, see if there's anything new here. Oh, okay. We started 2021 with 17 U.S. commercial customers and ended the year with 80 commercial customers. Okay. I thought they had more than that, but I'm not sure what exactly they're referring to. I thought they had like 200 commercial customers, but could be wrong. We have quintupled the customer base and believe there is significant opportunity ahead. So yeah, I think they definitely did a good job with, this is US. Okay, got it. This is US commercial count, customer count. So yeah, definitely a good job there. I did notice though that they only put up the same number of customers as they did last quarter, which is fine. But when you're hiring a sales force in 2021 across all geographies, they started with 12 U.S. commercial sales representatives, 6 who had been with them for 9 months. And the year ended with 80. Okay, so it sounds like they did similar expansion to their customer count they actually did with their headcount for sales. So they brought it from 12 to 80. 25 have been with them for more than 9 months. The team contributed to our strong U.S. commercial result, and we plan to continue hiring aggressively. Continue to hire aggressively. Okay. Yeah, so there you see it, the headcount and the tenure growing as well. Yeah, that is a pretty aggressive headcount just in a percentage basis. In 2022, we intend to adopt a hiring plan for our non-U.S. commercial business that is similarly aggressive to the one we implemented for our U.S. commercial business in 2021, including hiring sales representatives across. Yeah, okay. Great. So yeah, non-U.S. expansion. We extended our partnership ecosystem across our commercial business in 2021. With their partners, they launched Foundry for Builders and a strategic investment program to capture the opportunity for Foundry to be the developer platform for the next generation of companies. So I really want to hear this verbally from them. I want to hear what they mean by that, right? The developer program, because I think this is a new idea. All right, government, how are we doing? Against a backdrop of growing geopolitical threats, our software continued to serve the needs of our most vital institutions. Yeah, I don't think it is necessarily important to read through all of this just now. Product. Ooh, let's look at this. In 2021, companies accelerated their adoption of Foundry as software infrastructure on which they are able to build their own software and deploy such software on the market. Let's do a quick check on the stock. Sitting a little bit below $13. I will remind you that really anything can happen between now and the conference call. I know probably a little nervous before this conference call. The stock is considering what happened last conference call, but Really could move either way. Could move positive, but definitely could move deeper into the red. I think it is kind of going to be up to Karp on his guidance, on how he's speaking about the business, stuff like that. All right. This is, okay, Gotham delivered new capabilities for the West and its allied. Okay, allies. They pushed Edge AI into space. All right. Adjusted financial results. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're just looking at all the figures here. Oh, I see. So, this is interesting because this is what happened to Tesla. Their related payroll tax will actually sort of hit the expenses for the quarter, and the analysts were not expecting that. Okay, but that's something we're gonna have to actually look at a little deeper. So they delivered 2 cents diluted earnings per share. Actually, okay, full year. So there was full year of 13 cents, up from 9 cents in 2020. So yeah, not tremendous improvement that we could have hoped for year over year on the earnings per share. But yeah, that exclude. Okay, so all right, that's excluding expenses for their direct listing. All right, guidance. 443 million next quarter, operating margin of 23%, so making progress. For the full year, they expect operating margin of 27%, and yeah, Karp. Yeah, see, this is my issue with that. Is it's great on giving guidance set forth by Alex Karp, but it would be nice if we could update this guidance. This was on the year-end 2020 earnings call. Could we update this figure? Could we give some more numbers? Could we, help out a little more in the next 3 years at each? Yeah, at each. So yeah, this is through the next 3 years, 30%. But I would just love to hear more from Karp, and we actually will be hearing more from him today. Okay. So there's one more thing that I want to do. Let me just reload Hypercharts and see if it's in yet. Those were my estimates. Not yet, but there is one thing that I wanted to do before we part ways. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Dave Brandon, you are the greatest Palantir resource. Jackson, thank you for all your videos in the past year. Yeah, thank you for the kind words. I'm certainly trying here. Let's see. I think I've got something that you will all like to see, which is if we stop sharing the screen and start sharing again, open the window of Palantir earnings. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. Now, these were my estimates down here for the quarter, but let's change it. These are no longer estimates. You see, I was estimating 435 million in revenue, and they actually came in at 433. Okay, I did have a bull case way above that, but I would say not too far off. But of course, that's my opinion. You could say I was far off. So one thing, I just need to pull up the SEC filings on the current filing report, and then I will be able to put in, what do we have for the gross profit? We saw a gross profit of 345. Is that right? 345. Wow. Okay, so R&D of, is that gross profit number right? Am I looking at the wrong one? I think that's right. I'll correct these later. Research and development of, and a lot of this I think does it include the stock-based compensation? I don't know exactly what they're doing. So we got the sales of 163 million plus a general and administrative of 157. So that's actually going to be a total of 320. Okay, I completely forecasted that correctly right there. And then we got our operating expenses of 404. Yep. Our operating income, I'm just searching this in another window. Income, come on. Operating income. You know what? We can look at these later. Yeah, I don't want to make you wait. So we'll look at those later. But here we have the charts for revenue. So this is in Palantir's font here. I broke these out. Just wanted to sort of forecast. Now, the one thing I did do is I excluded row 8. Now, row 8 is their direct listing quarter, where it has all sorts of funky things, expenses all over the place. I excluded that to smooth this out and to make it much more of a smooth chart and graph here. So anyway, yeah, so revenue, yeah, it really does come out to a pretty linear relationship here, and we'll have to see if they're able to have a breakout quarter sometime this year, if they're able to guide on an inflection point to really the upside, to let's see 40+% year-over-year growth. Let's see something crazy from this business. But a strong quarter out of Palantir, nonetheless, and since the stock price to sales has come down so much, I think it is really in line with what we could have expected, right? And I don't think the stock is going to be too upset with a revenue beat such as that. Now, the gross profit, I actually don't even believe that gross profit because it looks so good. But yeah, doing better and better on the expenses versus their revenue. And the R&D, you'll see actually coming down, so some expenses there. But of course, we want them investing heavily in R&D. We want more and more investment in what matters most. And SG&A coming pretty much in line there. And then their operating expenses, yeah, so no real surprise from OpEx, SG&A, R&D. Revenue looking pretty good when you put it on this chart, to be honest. So yeah, not many complaints on the revenue side. Gross profit doing better. And here is the quarter. I will update you on this later on. But let's switch back on over to, I don't know, what should we look at? I think I'm pretty much done with what I had to say. But let's just look at the stock one more time, just for right now, and then can sign off and get on the earnings call or hop on another live stream if you want. Stock at around 13 once again. So we were at 14. The stock fell to 12. Now we're at 13. Okay. So a bit of a variability there. Stock not really sure what to make of the quarter just yet. Again, I think the earnings call, the guidance verbally, what is management expecting will be huge. How do they answer the analyst questions? I think there is a bit of fear on considering how the earnings call went last time, what's going to happen this time. So there's definitely that. But yeah, a lot to dive through and look at for Palantir. I know a bit of a disappointment, of course, when we see the stock down like that after the earnings. And yeah, I don't know. I think we'll have to look into this a little more, and more so just get a feel of how management is thinking about this. Do they come out strong? Or do they come out swinging? Yeah, I think that's definitely what happens from here. But thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm sorry about the audio issues early on. And yeah, that's where I'll leave it. And thank you for the super chat as well. All right. Thanks, guys. Until next time. And